Hi guys, welcome to Unit 6, Lesson 6, Real World Systems of Equations. I was going to say inequalities. That's not correct. Alright, Real World Systems of Equations. So there's two different things that we need to consider, and those are dependent variables and independent variables. So a dependent variable, its value relies on or depends on other factors, usually the independent variable. The independent variable is its value does not depend on other values. Okay, so those are two new definitions that we haven't talked about up to this point, so we got to keep those in mind. The best thing for us to do today is just going to be going straight into examples. The first one that I have for you is number 2 on your practice. At Henderson Middle School awards ceremony, the principal is going to honor outstanding students with gift cards. The gift cards for excellent grades, G, are worth $40, and the gift cards for perfect attendance, A, are worth $25. The principal has $4,000 allotted for this event, and he is going to recognize 100 students. Write the pair of linear equations that model this situation. Okay? So first off, let's see, it says the gift cards for excellent grades, that's defined as G, they are each $40, and the gift cards for perfect attendance, A, are worth $25. Now, you'll notice the first equation, and it says this, like in your lesson or on the actual practice, technically the whole thing says equation to represent the total number of students. That's this first one. I just wrote down total students. But what we can do to make up the total of 100 of them, we can say, okay, there is a certain number of students that are going to get gift cards for excellent grades. That's the G, right? Excellent grades, G. And there are other students who are getting gift cards for perfect attendance, A. So G for grades, A for attendance, right? Those are we can also, yes, they're representing the gift cards, but they're also representing the students, right? Because we can say this number of students had good grades, this number of students had perfect attendance, and when we add those together, they're going to total up to 100 students. Okay? Now, we can also use those same variables for our gift cards. And we can say, okay, it's $40 per gift cards for the grades. So $40 per gift card, meaning we're going to take $40 and multiply it by the number of gift cards we need to buy for perfect grades. And then we're going to add that to $25 times the number of students getting perfect attendance, right? Because they're going to get a $25 gift card. Total, all together, that is all going to have to add up to $4,000. Okay, that's his budget. So these are the two equations that we would be looking for in this system of linear equations. Okay, so these two right here, this is the answer that they're looking for. All right. Number 2, which is also number 4 on your practice, says Mrs. Gonzalez is going to rent a car for a business trip for 1 week. The total cost, C, for top-notch car rental is $150 plus 35 cents per mile, M. The total cost, C, for Fleetwood car rental is $200.10 per mile, M. Which company is less expensive for a 300-mile trip, and by how much? So really, we're doing a lot of things here, and hopefully I gave myself enough room. First off, let's look at top notch. Okay, so the total cost, C, is equal to, let's see, it's a flat $150 right off the bat, plus 35 cents, right, which we'll do 0.35 for 35 cents per mile, M. Okay, and then for, what was the other one, Fleetwood? we've got $200, and actually maybe I'll write it over here. For Fleetwood, for the total cost, we have $200, but then it's only 10 cents per mile. Okay? So we have two different equations going on. Both of them have the same variables. But what we know is that we're looking for the cost of a $300 trip. So 300-mile trip. So we can plug that into our equation and figure out, okay, well, which one is cheaper? Right? So we've got 35 cents times 300 miles for this first one. All I did was plug in the number of miles we're going. And let's see here. On my calculator, for this one, I'm going to do, according to the order of operations, I have to do multiplication before addition, right? So I'm going to do 35 cents times 300. That gives me 105. So now I have 150 plus 105. I'll add 150 to that, and that gives us $255 for top notch. Okay. And then we can do the same thing for Fleetwood. We can say, all right, we've got $200 right out the gate, plus 10 cents times 300 miles. Well, let's see. 300 times 10 cents, that's 30. So we would have 200 plus 30, giving us $230. Okay? So what that tells me is that Fleetwood, the final question was, which company is less expensive? Well, looking at these two costs, Fleetwood is less expensive. And by how much? So by how much? Well, that's the difference between these two numbers, which is $25. So the final answer, and it's going to have you enter numbers, so just really pay attention to what you're entering, right? But the final answer for this would be Fleetwood, and then it would be by $25. That's your final answer for that one. Okay? This last one is number 4 on your quick check, and I tried to pick one that I thought was kind of tricky in a way. So, like I said, number 4 on your quick check. It says, the Spanish Club at Santa Fe Middle School, I thought that was cool too, wants to sell mini quiches to raise money for a field trip. The culinary department at their school will make the quiches for $30 plus 50 cents per quiche for the ingredients. The Spanish Club will sell them for $2. How many quiches do they need to sell to break even? So first off, we need two different equations. We needed an equation to show the cost, but then we also need one to show the revenue, meaning like how much we're actually making, okay? So the cost, that's this one right here from the culinary department. It says they're going to charge $30. So we would have total cost is $30 plus 50 cents per quiche. Okay? 50 cents per quiche. I'll use a Q for quiche. That's how much they're going to charge. Okay? For revenue, right? I'll use capital R for revenue. We're charging $2 per quiche, right? We're going to sell for $2 per quiche. So what we need to do, we want to know, when are they going to break even? Meaning, when are these two amounts equal to each other? All right, that's what we're looking at. So what we can do is we can say, okay, we want our cost to be equal to our revenue, right? Because that means like we're not out any money, right? We didn't lose money on it. That's what that's saying. So what I can do is I can set them equal to each other. I can say, okay, oops, I have $30 plus 50 cents per quiche equals $2 per quiche. Okay, so now they're set equal. And then from this, my goal is to get my variable by itself. So I'm going to subtract 50 cents, or the 0.5 quiche, right? This one will cancel, and I'm left with 30 equals, and then 2 minus a half, or 2 minus 50 cents would be like $1.50 per quiche, and then I would divide both sides. Okay, and really I don't need that 0 there, but since we're talking money, I left it alone. They'll cancel over there. So the number of quiches is what we're looking for. Then we would do 30 divided by 1.5, and that is equal to 20. Okay, so that's your final answer, is 20 quiches. Okay, and so what that tells me is that at 20 quiches, we've made enough profit to cover all of our costs, right? So anything after that is going to become profit. All right, that's what that's talking about. All right, you guys, I certainly hope this helps, and if you need extra support, just let me know.